Hey, Yarmo, same question I asked John to start. It seems like I know if you push aside the result, you may still be sore from that, understandably. The incredible education you picked up from your roster this year, you learned so much about your two goaltenders that were replacing the guy. You went way deep on your depth chart because of injuries. You saw Pierre-Luc Dubois as a number one centerman, even in the playoffs. How much did you learn? How beneficial was the season just from seeing what you have and learning so much about this roster?
I think you learn something every day, and that's our job too. But I think I remember us defending our roster, defending our core, believing in our goaltending from the start, and I think that we were underestimated in a lot of different areas as far as how we were going to be this year. And it's our recipe every year that it's the team that wins games. It's not going to be a departure or addition of one player or two players. It's going to be the team, and that's how we're going to keep building. Is that we want to be a team, and we've shown that for many years now that we're a hard team to play against because we play as a unit. We play hard. We're competitive, and that's what it has to be all about. It doesn't mean that we're not going to try to get better in many different areas, but we've done a good job building through draft and having some depth, and that was tested this year, obviously with the injuries. But a lot of the guys that got that opportunity either lived up to the expectations or exceeded it, and that's a good thing.
Next, we'll go to Brian Hedger.
Hey, Jarmo. I know it's only 2 days after the end of the season, but you did get to learn a lot about this team and your roster. When you look ahead to this, I guess it's going to be a short off season. What are some of the areas that maybe you feel like this team could improve in, and that you might be able to address in the off season?
Well, I think we always look at each and every area. We're going to start from looking at our goalies and move on to the defensemen, and we'll have a good conversations about our forward group, and we're going to try to improve each and every area that we can. But it's just it's easy to be the armchair GM or whatever they call it, and say that, okay, trade this guy for that guy. There's 30 other teams in this league, and 31 pretty soon other teams and us, and they're all pretty smart people, and they don't just give away their players, and it's a little harder to make a trade than a lot of people imagine. But we're going to have all those conversations. I'm going to go through every team that's a potential partner with us to see if there's something we can do to improve our team, and they're going to try to improve theirs. So it's going to have to be that balance. And I don't believe in the July 1 signings to be the answer or recipe for success. That's been shown very many times. It's going to be a different date, obviously, this off season. But growing from within is going to be a key for us. And I think that we have some really good young players that have taken a big step into the right direction, and they'll take another one or two in the near future with Liam Foodie, Alex Texier, Emil Bemstrom, those guys. And we have some excellent prospects in our system that we're going to unfortunately have to wait for a couple more years in Russia playing the KHL. But with Marchenko and Voronkov, those guys are big part of their KHL teams right now already, and most likely will be ready to play in the National Hockey League right away when they come here. But again, we'd have to wait for them a little bit. But it's at each and every area we're going to take a close look at, and then we're going to talk with the coaches about what can we improve about our play and how they see areas of improvements. Everybody's screaming about our power play. How can we make that better? How can we better hold the lead at the end of the games? And those things we'll have conversations, and I'm sure coaches will be thinking about it all of the off season. And those guys care. They work so hard to win games, and they're going to look at each area to improve.
Next question, Mark Scheig.
Hey, Jarmo. Just two-parter on the injury front. How close was Josh Anderson to being able to come back? And then also any discussion about Brandon Dubinsky's future in terms of possible buyout, long-term injured reserve next year? Would he play another game? Just where does that all stand?
I can't really comment on either one. I know that Brandon Dubinsky's injury is a chronic wrist injury that most likely can't play anymore. That's what I've been hearing, but I'm not a medical expert, and I also can't give you any date on Josh Anderson's return. His 6-month date is September 2nd, I believe, and it was supposed to take 4 to 6 months, and closer to the 6-month mark, told by the doctors. So that's about it.
Next is Aaron Portzline.
Yeah. Hey, Yarmo, what is what's this off season going to be like for you in terms of how compacted it is? I know teams want to do a lot of stuff. I know there's a flat cap that could force some movement, but how strange is it going to be, and how squeezed together is it all going to be? Will there be ample time for teams to get all of the movement done that they want?
Yeah, I mean, our off season started yesterday, and we've been talking. We had a meeting with our management group this morning about things we need to accomplish this off season, and everybody's doing the same. Whoever is not playing right now, and even the teams that are playing, they have lots of time in the bubble to think about some of the off season moves, but you don't really want to get too much into it when you're still playing. At least we don't. But now that we're out of it, that's what we do every day, and yeah, it's going to be a challenge a bit with the flat cap, but we have challenges here every year, and this is just going to be another one that we're going to have to work around.
Mark Scheig.
I know, Yarmo, you're always going to look to improve the team. You say that every year. I just wonder, from a division standpoint, seeing the Rangers winning the lottery and stuff like that, they're going to get dramatically better. Do you feel any extra pressure to have to do something, knowing how tough the Metro is going to be in coming seasons?
No, I don't feel any pressure about what the other teams are doing. We're going to look at our team and make every effort to make that improve and better. You to get a player like Alex Lafreniere, you're going to have to be winning the lottery or be in the last place to have the best chance to win the lottery, and that's how the system works. And so that's why the league's got so much parity is the system that it has in place right now, and we've seen it. We drafted Pierre-Luc Dubois at 3rd overall and Zach Werenski at 8th. So in order to get those type of impact players, usually you have to be in the top 10 and maybe even in the top 3, and that means you're pretty close to the last place in the league. But there are other ways to improve, and we're going to look at it all. And as I've said many times, our scouting staff's done a great job finding players that are good NHL players from later in the draft, and that's we got an interesting off season coming up with an important draft again, and we have our 1st round pick this year, and lots of exciting things, but I can't emphasize the growth from within enough, because I think that there was some very encouraging signs with guys like Liam Foudy and Alex Texier in the playoffs when we were playing some of the best teams in the league.
Next question, Brian Hedger.
Yarmo, I'm going to give you the same one I gave Torts about Alexander Wenberg. Is he included in that growth from within as well? Is it more frustrating or encouraging to see how well he really played in that Game 5?
Yeah, it's encouraging, but you want to see it every night, and that's what the expectations are for all the pros. Is that whatever your capacity and your potential is, you should pretty much be close to it every night, and 82 times a year in the regular season, and then in the playoffs. I mean, nobody's perfect. You're going to have an odd off night and here and there, but when we know you're capable of, that's what we expect from you.
You have any other questions for Yarmo? Question from Robert LaFlamme. Go ahead, Robert.
Hi, Jarmo. I want you to talk about Pierre-Luc Dubois. What did you see in his draft year that make you believe that he could become the player that is becoming right now for your team?
Well, our scouting staff did a great job with him, and we've talked about this so many times. They followed him around all year, and they loved him right from the start, and right until the time that we picked him. And I saw him play in Quebec League. I saw him play in the top prospects game, and I believe in our scouts. They loved every aspect of his game, and we're seeing it right now in the National Hockey League.
Is he the cornerstone of your team on the offense for the next years?
He's one of them, for sure.
Next, we'll go to Jeff Svoboda.
Jarmo, just wanted to ask the unique kind of situation the bubble provided, where you probably had a chance to watch, some days 3 hockey games that involved teams that weren't your own. You probably got a chance to take in as much hockey as you wanted to. Just was it interesting or different for you to just have that opportunity to see so many teams up close, and just were you able to learn things from that? Or now when you talk specifically about other teams, but just was that kind of as a hockey guy, did you really get a lot from that ability? And that
yeah, it was a great opportunity, and that didn't have any problem planning the days when that was the schedule. You'd go to the noon game, you'd go to the 4 o'clock game, you'd go to the 8 o'clock game, and you get home and in bed by 11, and so it was hockey 24/7. And other times than that, we were talking about our team and talking about our issues and all that. But it's a unique opportunity, obviously, to watch those games live, and you'd have to take 2 months to fit them on a regular schedule and in a normal situation to travel around and watch those teams so many times. Now you could just walk 10 minutes from your hotel room into the suite at the rink and watch the games, and it was awesome. And we used it very well for hopefully to our advantage.
Brian Hedger.
Yep. I'm sure we'll probably talk before the draft again, but what has draft prep been like for you guys through this whole, I guess, the pandemic pause? And then, it's just not been normal. You haven't had a combine or anything.
No, it's been more video, more background checks, Zoom video interviews instead of in place at the combine, and some of them are getting done in person before the combine when you take guys for lunch or a cup of coffee to get to know them. Now they're getting to know them via Zoom, and in Europe there's another season going on right now, and the leagues haven't started yet, but the exhibition games have, and we're using that to our advantage. We're scouting the players that are draft eligible in the next season, which has never happened before. And I think the older those guys get from the age of 18, which is the draft eligibility age, and the easier it is to evaluate them. I think we've talked about this many times, that if we were able to draft these guys, or if we made the age qualification older, if we were to draft players at the age of 20, it would make this a lot easier for us. And it would be a lot more exact science than trying to evaluate players that are not physically or psychologically developed into adults yet when you draft them at 17, 18. It's a tough science drafting them and evaluating who's going to have the best career when you're looking at a 17, 18-year-old kid.
Next, we'll go to Allison Lucan.
Jarmo, first, quickly, I just wondered if you had an update on Elvis.
He was close to coming back. He was nicked up a bit and had to take some time to rehab and recover. And I think he would have been back in the weekend.
And then
we
second,
kept on playing.
Sorry, Jarmo. Second, I just wanted to ask you, last year we talked about Zach Werenski's building the defensive side of his game. This year he leads defensemen in goals, looking more complete as a player. What's your evaluation of his continued development?
I think the top pairing that we have in Zach Werenski and Seth Jones, I'll put it up against any pairing in the league. I think they're both good two-way players. Both can jump on the rush offense, blue line in the offensive zone, but also can play against any top line in the league and compete defensively. And I think that's what's I think undervalued in when they get to put the nominations in for the Norris Trophy, because I think it should be a little bit more about how you can play defense. And I think Seth Jones in particular showed that he is a very hard competitor to play against with his frame and ability to skate and defend. But Zach's taken huge steps on the defensive side as well, and 20 goals. I was a little bit offended when somebody asked him how it feels to be on the ice with such great defensemen as Seth Jones and Victor Hedman when whoever asked the question was talking to the leading goal scorer in the National Hockey League for defensemen.
And we'll go to Aaron Portzline.
Hey, Jarmo, I know you'd give just about anything to be back in the bubble right now or still in the bubble with your team playing. But what was that moment like, if you can, stepping outside the bubble? How much was it weighing on you? We're hearing quotes from coaches now and teams when they're leaving about the sort of the mental tax that it's taking. What was it like to step out of there, and how did you handle it?
I stepped on the bus and went to the airport. It wasn't. I think the league's done a great job with the whole operation. It's incredible how much success we've had with everybody stayed healthy and safe in that environment, and you could just concentrate on hockey. The hardest thing for me was just not to be able to go outside and walk and enjoy the sunshine. We had one patio in our hotel where you could be outside, and then there was the shuttle to the Hotel X or the BMO field where you could get on the soccer field and enjoy the air and the sunshine. But that was probably the hardest part for me. Otherwise, it was just like a road trip. You weren't able to go to your favorite restaurant, but you could order food from them and eat it at the lounge at the hotel, and just something different. And like I said, there was the opportunity to watch hockey, which was great. And the facilities, the gyms and the tennis courts and all that at the Hotel X were unbelievable. And that BMO field was a great place to throw frisbee around, or football or soccer. And so there's lots of things to do. Didn't particularly like being surrounded by iron fences and not be able to step outside and walk. But that was the price to be paid to be safe.
Thanks.
We've got a couple more. Brian Hedger.
Jarmo, when you look back on that series against Tampa Bay, did it feel like they had maybe learned some lessons from the year before against you guys and maybe tailored their team differently?
They're a good team. They've shown it in the regular season more than 2 years in a row. They've always been a top team in the National Hockey League. We were able to get the momentum on our side last year and won the series, and they're just like any other team in the league. They're trying to learn and get better, and they made some changes. Probably brought in some more grit and size because of the playoff series last year. But that's their business. I'm not going to get into talking about how they improve their team or evaluate their team. They're a good organization and a good team, and I wish them the best of luck. I think that we did so many good things in that series. It's a bitter pill to swallow that we're here now. I truly thought for sure we'll be playing tonight. And if we had gone to Game 6, who knows? But I'm not going to get into the ifs and buts and you know what. But the way we played in the second period of Game 5, I mean, it could have been our best hockey all year. We had 24 shots, I think, in that period, and we're in their zone the whole period. We get the lead at the end, and we get to 4-2, and then lose that lead, and it's just it's hard to swallow right now. And I was 100% convinced that we're getting into Game 6 tonight, and then have it turn around like that and lose it. It's hard, but we'll just have to learn from it and move on.
Last question, we'll go back to Aaron Portzline.
Hey, Jarmo, what's your message to your players and staff for this offseason? I know it's going to be brief, but what do you want them to accomplish between now and the fall, which we're almost in already, when you start back up again?
Well, I think it's going to be huge that we don't have 2 off seasons. We already had a layoff for 4 months in during the pandemic here, from March to July, basically, but June until the phase 2 when guys started coming back. And with a young group like we have to use this time to our advantage, where guys can take physically a step to get to the next level. Maybe take 2 steps with guys like I've mentioned, Foodie, Texier, Bemstrom, those guys. It's going to be really important for them to use this time right. And there are going to be some guys that could potentially play in Europe, keep playing. We're going to look into all of that with our prospects and some roster players too, because if you don't play and we have some guys that didn't get into the lineup, so now you haven't played from March 12th to whenever the league starts. We don't know that. Let's say it's in December. That's 9 months, and you cannot take 9 months from hockey. And I don't care what you do off the ice for training or on the ice for training. You have to play games and be in a competitive situation where you can improve and develop the right way. So I think that's going to be the biggest message to our group and individuals once we start getting into the talks with them. And I've already started that with a couple of guys in the bubble when we were just reflecting on a couple of things and what we need to do moving forward.
Well, thank you, Jarmo. Thanks to everybody else for joining us today.
Thanks, Jarmo.